In this video, I'm breaking down the secret sauce of how I've hosted 5 masterminds across the globe without an audience. I do not have thousands of followers on Instagram, nor on YouTube. I didn't run paid ads. I didn't do cold outbound. This is purely through one system that I'm going to break down in this video. This is my mastermind in Dubai. Most recently, this was my first one ever in Bali with Will Brown. This was my mastermind in London. This was my one in Amsterdam. This was my one in Cape Town. So I've done it in 5 different places across the globe over the last 6-7 months or so. So pretty frequently. Done 3 this year. We've just turned into April and I'm about to do my next one in Koh Samui. Most people typically think, okay, for me to host an event of this caliber that's this well put together, I need a shit ton of followers, I need to run a shit ton of ads, which scares you, and you need to do a lot of out. Well, I'm going to break out a system that completely gets rid of that belief because it's not true. What you need is the following. These steps. You must do the following things to host masterminds if you don't want to rely on all the traditional things that all the other BS marketers do. The first thing is you need to build a network. You then need to build trust, so you convert that network. As you build that trust, you must seed the idea. Once you've seeded the idea and you do have like enough warm interest, you actually invite, but you invite exclusively. And then you basically put on the afterburners and you just do a flywheel that just fills out the spot super, super quickly. I'm gonna break this down for you. Like, I'm not gatekeeping anything here. So the first thing, building a network. I'm really going to focus on my story in Cape Town. I did my mastermind after 2.5 weeks in Cape Town, having never been to Cape Town before. And I think it's relevant because if you're watching this right now and you're thinking to yourself, damn, I would love to host a mastermind, but I'm in the wrong place or I don't know the right people. This hopefully breaks that limiting belief because I'm going to give you a step-by-step thing of how you can actually do this. Now, the first thing is in your location where you want to host this mastermind is you first need to figure out your ICP. Now, this is either your ICP in terms of your actual network, like who do you want in your network, but also from this mastermind perspective, who do you actually want to bring to your event? Like, what's your ICP for your own mastermind? Like, in your dream scenario, what type of people are coming to your event? And you need to get crystal clear on this. What you can do is you can start to think like your ICP thinks. So for example, I'm going to Bali in a month or so. If I was to host another one in Bali, what would I do? I would ask myself, who do I want to hang out with? Or who do I want to come to my mastermind? Well, let's just say it's fitness influencers as an example. Well, I better get to the gym. And I better get to the fancy gym. And you must do your homework. Just like you might do research before a prospect on a sales call, you want to really understand who your ICP is. Who is your target audience for your mastermind? Who do you actually want in that room? Because so many people just get a lot of value by actually who they're surrounded by in that room. And I've seen that time and time again, actually. Some of the most expensive masterminds, they're not even that good in terms of the source and the information. There's no implementation. Really, people just pay for that access. Now, I've actually gone over this a lot, but you can pay all the money you want in the world for access, but if you don't convert that access, it's completely useless, which is why I've got a video exactly breaking down how you can convert that access. I'll leave that in the description link below because it's very important that you actually make the most of these opportunities. So you've got crystal clear on who you want, where they hang out, what they care about, what they do, where they are. And then, funnily enough, I'm breaking this down, making it dumb simple, like Mosey does. We would go to that ICP. So we want to increase the amount of exposure that we're going to get with that person. So how can I make sure that I maximize the amount of surface area and crossover and contact that I could have with that potential ICP? Do I need to go to other events? Do I need to go to certain gyms? Do I need to go to certain run clubs? Do I need to go to certain dinners? Do I need to meet certain people? Do I need to meet other people on podcasts? Do I need to go to certain house parties? Do I need to go to other masterminds? What exactly do I need to do to increase the amount of exposure and the amount of surface area and contact time that I have with that specific ICP? Now, this is one of the most crucial parts. We must have a crystal clear offer that we can present our ICP. Just like in your own business, you get crystal clear on who is your audience that you want to sell your thing to. Well, it's the exact same with your network. What are you going to give this person so that it's a no-brainer? For example, I was in Prague last week and there was an entrepreneur, very, very successful. We had a few mutuals. Now, he actually DM'd me first, but what I did, he was my ICP, someone very successful, travels the world, makes money, whatnot. Now, I made an offer to him that was irresistible. What is an irresistible offer when it comes to networking? Well, simply, that person's going to do anyway. For example, gym. For example, run. For example, steak, healthy dinner. Those are the 3 easiest things to do in this online entrepreneurship space, or honestly, in a lot of different industries. If you want, you could also tailor that with, if you're in a different industry, like, is there another event you can invite that person to? But what is something that you can bring and add value to that person? What is an offer you can present to that person that's as irresistible as possible? And by getting crystal clear on your ICP, you can then present them with that offer because you understand very deeply what they want and what they're optimizing for. Now, once you've met that ICP and you've presented that offer, you must actually go through with it. So you go and you do that gym session with that person. And this is when it comes to converting that access. We want to make sure that when you're with that person, you actually close. What do I mean by close? I mean, like, you actually build that relationship, which is what I'm going to go to next. So by closing, really, I'm talking about building trust. How do you actually build trust in a room with a person? How do you convert that access? Well, really, it's a few things. The most important thing is simply you give more than you take. Just like the content game, it's the exact same with people. You need to give. You need to provide as much value as possible. The person thinks, holy shit, I really like that person. Now, how do you add value? You can add value in different ways. You can look at someone's health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality. Look at those 4 quadrants of someone's life and understand which area is that person lacking in. Once you understand what area that person's lacking in, ask yourself, is that an area that I potentially excel at, and can I provide some help with that? You can also ask things such as, hey, what are you struggling the most with in this? Hey, how's your health recently? Hey, how's your relationships? What's on your mind right now, if you don't mind me asking? And you can say it in a polite way if you leverage emotional intelligence. I'll also do another video on emotional intelligence so it can help you actually level up in that regard. But what's really important fundamentally is these 3 things. You need to be real, you need to be consistent, and you need to be safe. Why do you need to be real? You need to be real fucking bullshit. People will look at you in the eyes, and then they're just fake. So if you can be the one true person that's actually not fake, like, I start every coaching call that I have with the new clients telling them straight up, hey, I'm the type of coach that if there's shit in your teeth, I will tell you there's shit in your teeth. If you're bullshitting me, I will tell you you're bullshitting me. I expect you to do the same of me. Now, that's a great frame to come at it because that person knows, fuck, thanks. He's actually got my best interest at heart as he's being real with me. Real. 2, consistency. Consistency is key, just like in any other area of your life. Now, you want to be there for someone consistently. Ask yourself, do I actually like this person's values? Do we have similar things? Do I actually trust this person? And will I be consistent for this person? What do I mean by that? Well, when that person goes through a dip, will you actually be there for that person? That is super important. If you don't believe that, then don't bother. And what you want to do is, as you build this relationship over time, you want to consistently follow up. You want to send that person messages here and there because they'll appreciate it. You know, it's so funny because me, as someone that has an incredible network, I think I've got in my close friends on Instagram, whether that's like a good proxy or not to actually discuss or like to show my network, regardless. I'll cut that out. Okay. So we want to send a message to these people if you build a relationship over a long period of time, every month, every few weeks, something like that, just because then you build that consistency, you build that trust over time. The third thing is to ensure that safety is there. What do I mean by safety? Well, if that person entrusts you with some information that you're going to tell them, they don't want to feel like you're a backstab. If you look at someone like Sneeko and Andrew Tate, and I don't know who else it was, but people, like, their gripe with Sneeko, I don't actually know him like personally, but their gripe with him was that he was like a bit of a backstabber, and like what I'm talking is he's not someone that's safe and then can't be trusted. If I tell someone something, I want to make sure that that person's not going to leak that information, no matter how small or how large. And so you must be someone that is actually safe. If you do these 3 things and you ensure that you give, you will build trust in that room with people, which then goes back to this. It would allow you to rinse and repeat this. You build trust, you close, you build that relationship with that person, and you re-offer them something. You do a gym session, then you re-offer, hey, we're going to do this networking event. Hey, come to this dinner. Hey, come to this, come to that. And I did that consistently over 2 weeks in Cape Town when I went there with no network. And very, very quickly, I got invited to the best parties. I got invited to be with the most attractive people. So you don't just think this is absolute BS. But I got invited to just like the best shit. And it wasn't because of anything else outside of what I'm explaining to you. I'm actually going to show you briefly so you believe me. So I got invited to parties like this. I got invited to parties like this. Like literally some of the coolest parties, I'd argue, on earth. Like super cool shit. And I got like the most exclusive access with the most attractive people. that like everyone wants to be with, and that is purely because of what I've just broken down with you right there. So let's keep going. So you need to repeat and repeat this, because as you do it, you're just going to go further and further up the networking ladder until you have like an absolutely cracked network. Right. What you must do with that person as you're building the trust, you want to seed the idea. What do I mean by seed the idea? Well, you just say to the person, hey, like, I'm thinking of doing a mastermind. If I did one, would you come? That simple. Thinking of doing this. If I did it, will you come? And this doesn't have to just be for a mastermind, but it can work for anything. Hey, I'm thinking of hosting a networking dinner. If I was to host one, would you come? Why does that work? It works because it's much easier to say yes to the idea of something than to actually say yes to doing the thing itself. That's why. Now, it's just super easy from here because you build the network, you build the trust, you seeded the idea. All we need to do now is you pick time and place, and you just start to invite some people. So what you do is you go through your memory, or you write it down somewhere, and you think, and you maybe send a message to all of those 10 people saying, hey, you remember that mastermind? Well, I'm thinking of doing it on this day at that time. Would that work for you? Yes, great, cool, that's it. And you can send the Stripe. That is literally as easy as it can be. Now, the fourth thing is actually leveraging a flywheel. Now, I told you I don't have a lot of followers, but because I was networking so much, and it will happen the same to you, I did gain like a few followers, at least in certain places. So for example, in Cape Town, what I did is I ensured that I had a really good flywheel. And this is the first time I did it, and it worked so well. How did that work? I sent messages to a few people, and then I posted an Instagram story, and from that Instagram story, those people replied. I instantly put it on my screen. Like I instantly screenshotted it, showed it on my Instagram, and bam. What happens is you very, very quickly create FOMO, because people are like, what the fuck? Like, these guys just launched this mastermind. He's instantly sold out 5-6 tickets. What the fuck? And then very, very quickly after, boom, 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 you sell out the rest of the mastermind. It's genuinely that simple. But the reason people don't do it is because it does require you to put your back against the wall. Now, if you think this is something that is just absolute bullshit, I did the exact same thing in Dubai. I did the exact same thing. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, sure, Piero, really? Yeah, I don't believe you. Well, I've done it 5 times. And also with Dubai, I did the exact same protocol that I did in Cape Town. I wanted to focus on Cape Town in this video because I went to Cape Town knowing absolutely no one, and I only had 2.5 to pull off what I did. It felt like something out of Ocean's 11. However, with Dubai, I do have a more established network, but it was a bit of shitty time that I was there. And I still pulled it off. And I did the exact same thing here. And so if I can do it, you can do it. If we just go back to summarize this video, you must build a network, build the trust, see the idea, invite, build that exclusivity, and then create that flywheel. If you would like more help in terms of actually being in the room, making sure that you're that charismatic motherfucker, making sure that you public speak on stage so well that everyone's like, oh my God, this guy just knows exactly what he's talking about. Because being able to speak with absolute certainty, conviction in front of an audience is not easy. I might be your guy. And so if you think that's the case, DM me on Instagram. Join Raw Doggers if you actually want to build a community of other people that are actually crushing it in life. And I'll see you on the next one.